Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. I'm so glad you've joined me today. Are you ready to practice English in a fun, interactive way? Today, we will be using a technique called shadowing. It's a simple but powerful method to improve your pronunciation, rhythm, and speaking confidence. If you've never heard of it before, don't worry, I'll explain. In this video, I'll tell you a story. Your job is to listen carefully to every sentence and then pause the video to say the sentence out loud. I want you to repeat it just like you heard it. Copy the voice, the speed, and the emotion. This exercise will help you sound more natural and confident. You can watch the video as many times as you need, practicing again and again. The more you shadow, the better your English will become. Ready to start? Let's begin the story now. But before we do, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy learning with us. Let's dive into the story of Anna's unexpected journey. My name is Anna. I'm 27 years old and I work in a software company. I absolutely love my job. It's challenging, but it's also rewarding. I always work hard to complete every project on time, and I'm always punctual, never late. My boss always tells me how happy she is with my work, and I try my best to make her proud. One day, as I was sitting at my desk, my manager called me into her office. I wondered what it was about. Was it about a new project? Or maybe something I had done wrong? But when I walked in, she looked at me with a smile and said, "Anna, we have a business meeting in Singapore next month, and you're the one who's selected to go." At first, I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I stammered, "Are you sure?" I mean, it felt like such a big responsibility, and Singapore was so far away from home. She just smiled and nodded. "Yes, you deserve it. You've worked hard for this." Her words made me feel proud and a little nervous too. This would be my first business trip overseas, and the excitement of it all made my heart race. After I left her office, I immediately called my parents to tell them the big news. They were so happy and excited for me. I spent the next few days preparing for the trip. I packed my suitcase, double-checked my passport, and made sure I had everything I needed. There was a sense of excitement in the air. I couldn't believe this was really happening. I had never traveled alone, let alone for work, and the idea of flying to another country filled me with a mix of nerves and thrill. The day of the flight finally arrived. I was at the airport, all set for my journey. I stood in line for check-in, feeling the anticipation building up. But then, as I was standing there, something strange happened. A woman in front of me dropped her bag, and all the papers inside went flying across the floor. Without thinking, I rushed to help her gather everything. She looked at me with a thankful smile and said, "Thank you." But then she seemed to recognize me, her eyes widening with surprise. "Are you Anna?" she asked. I was taken aback. "Yes, but how do you know my name?" I asked. She smiled warmly and said, "I used to be your school teacher." I stared at her for a moment, trying to place her face. Then it clicked. "Miss Harini," I gasped. She nodded and hugged me tightly. We both laughed out loud, not believing how we had just run into each other after so many years. It turned out she had moved to Canada, but was now coming to Singapore for a seminar. We exchanged numbers and promised to catch up. It felt like fate. Who would have thought I'd meet an old teacher just before a big trip? After we said our goodbyes, I headed to the gate for my flight. On the plane, I looked out the window. I felt a sense of nervous excitement wash over me. Singapore was going to be a huge milestone for me, but little did I know it was going to change my life in ways I couldn't have imagined. The adventure in Singapore. When I arrived in Singapore early in the morning, I couldn't help but be impressed by how modern and beautiful the airport was. The clean design, the greenery inside, it was unlike anything I had ever seen before. I took a taxi to my hotel, and the driver, who spoke English with a soft accent, gave me a brief tour of the city as we drove. I smiled and listened, feeling both excited and a little overwhelmed by everything that was so new. At the hotel, I checked in. My room was on the 15th floor, and when I stepped inside, I was speechless. The view from my window was breathtaking. I could see the entire city below me, with the sea in the distance. It was truly a sight to behold. The next day, I prepared for the business meeting. I wore a black suit, feeling professional and confident. I arrived at the business center right on time, and the meeting went smoothly. I gave my presentation, and to my delight, everyone clapped. My boss was proud of me, and I felt a sense of accomplishment. After the meeting, I had 2 days to explore Singapore. I was excited, but a little nervous too, since I didn't know the city well. I decided to visit some of the most famous places. First, I went to Marina Bay Sands, where I marveled at the stunning architecture. I took pictures in front of the Merlion, the iconic statue of a lion with the body of a fish. Then I headed to gardens by the bay, where I walked through the beautiful flower domes and admired the famous Super Tree Grove. As I was walking, though, I slipped and twisted my ankle. My heart sank. People were passing by, but no one stopped to help. I struggled to get up, but then a young man appeared out of nowhere. "Are you okay?" he asked, bending down to help me. "I think I twisted my ankle," I replied, wincing in pain. He immediately offered to take me to a clinic. "Let's get you some help," he said kindly. He helped me walk to his car, and we went to the clinic. There, the doctor confirmed that it was just a small sprain. I was relieved, but still in pain. The young man introduced himself as Ruan, and I was surprised to hear he was from Sri Lanka, too. He smiled. "What a small world," I said. He drove me back to my hotel, and we talked the entire way. It turned out that Ruan was a photographer and loved art and travel just like me. He had been living in Singapore for a few years now. That evening, he brought me dinner to my hotel. We ate, laughed, and talked about everything. Our dreams, our favorite places, our childhoods. It was like we had known each other for years. He made me feel safe, and something about him made me feel a connection I couldn't explain. The next day, my ankle was feeling better, so Ruan suggested we go shopping. We went to Orchard Road, a famous shopping street in Singapore. The place was bustling with energy, with lights flashing everywhere and music playing in every store. I bought chocolates, perfume, and a beautiful handbag. Then we entered a small art shop. I walked to a painting that caught my eye. It looked strangely familiar. I looked closer and gasped. It was a painting of my village temple. I turned to Ruan. "How is this here?" I asked, my voice full of wonder. He smiled softly. "I painted that." I stared at him, amazed. "Really?" I said. "But why?" He nodded. I miss home, so I painted it. It's my way of keeping Sri Lanka close to my heart. I was deeply touched. Not only was he kind, but he was also incredibly talented. That night, as we walked near the bay, the city lights reflecting off the water, I realized that this trip, this unexpected meeting, had changed my life. I had found someone who understood me, someone who shared my love for travel and art, someone who made me feel special. As we sat on a bench by the water, Ruin turned to me and said, "I've never felt this happy in years." I smiled, squeezing his hand. "I feel the same." He leaned in and kissed my forehead. It was a peaceful moment, one that I knew would stay with me forever. A new beginning. After the trip, I returned to Sri Lanka, and when I arrived at the airport, my parents were waiting for me. They saw the smile on my face and immediately knew something had changed. I told them all about the business meeting, but I also told them about Ruin. My mom smiled and said, "He sounds like a good man." Ruan and I stayed in touch, and a month later he visited Sri Lanka. He met my family, and they loved him. We got married in a small, intimate ceremony, inviting close friends and family. Miss Harini, my old teacher, even came all the way from Canada. She hugged me and said, "You've grown so much." Now Ruin and I live together in Singapore. I work in a new company here, and Ruin continues to follow his passion, photography and painting. We often walk by the bay, and every time we pass that bench where we first sat, I remember everything. The way he helped me, the way he made me laugh, and how that trip changed my life in ways I couldn't have imagined. The end. I hope you enjoyed the story. Remember, English is more than just grammar. It's about telling real stories, sharing real feelings. So practice shadowing with me, watch the video again, and keep repeating the sentences until your voice feels strong and clear. Thank you for learning with me. You're doing amazing, and I'm so proud of you. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more stories and practice, and share it with a friend who wants to improve their English. See you in the next story. Bye for now.